In the headlines, pensioners in Dominica are set to benefit from an increase in payments effective March 1st, 2025. In the news from the region, violence erupts after police in Jamaica kill a top gang leader they had sought for years. And internationally, U.S. judge temporarily blocks Trump's order to change birthright citizenships. The details of these stories and more coming up next.
Yo, what's up?
Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digital TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951. DBS News.
And welcome back. First off, pensioners in Dominica are set to benefit from an increase in payments effective March 1st, 2025. Executive Director of the Dominica Social Security, Janice Jean-Jacques Thomas, says every 3 years the Dominica Social Security is obligated to increase pension payments. Thomas says the institution will pay out in excess of $2.8 million in pension fees.
To be seen that increase automatically applied to their pensions come 1st of March 2025. And I mean, it is coming at a hefty cost to us. That is going to cost us over $2.8 million. All right, so an additional cost to us on our pensions of $2.8 million just because of that increase to the pensions of an increase of 4.27%. And so all of the pensions will increase as a result. So even our minimum pensions will now increase, which will move from $76.81 a week to $80.10 a week. The highest increase we've ever applied to pensions in recent years. But that is a recommendation that was made in a review. It went into law. SRO 12 of 2007 that makes it possible that every 3 years we have to put an increase on our pensions in payments. So the last increase was done in 2022, and then the next increase is due from the 1st of March 2025, and that increase is going to be 4.27%.
And that was Executive Director of the Dominica Social Security, Janice Jean-Jacques Thomas, speaking on DBS Radio's Talking Point program this morning. Still in the national focus, the leader of the United Workers' Party, Dr. Thompson Fontaine, says he has written to Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit raising concerns over the 3 electoral reform bills which are to be passed in Parliament in the first quarter of this year. Dr. Fontaine addressed the press conference of the UWP this afternoon.
We wrote to the Honorable Prime Minister on the 13th of January outlining the shortcomings that we saw in the legislation and making some very positive recommendations to fixing those deficiencies in the existing proposed legislation. So I'm going to read for you at this time the letter that we addressed to the Honorable Prime Minister because it certainly is the position of our party. Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, electoral reform legislation introduced to Parliament. We have reviewed the bills for the Electoral Commission Act, the revised House of Assembly's Elections Act, and the revised Registration of Electors Act, which were introduced in Parliament on December 16, 2024, intended to give effect to the long-awaited reform of our electoral process. The United Workers' Party believes that the reforms to be facilitated by the proposed election laws are inadequate and do not go far enough in ensuring fair, free, and credible elections in Dominica. We are therefore requesting an urgent meeting with you at your earliest convenience to discuss our concerns and to present formally our recommendations to amend the proposed laws in the interest of ensuring that they effectively meet the heightened public expectations of genuine electoral reform.
Dr. Fontaine says his party will embark on a series of electoral reform meetings starting next week.
Let me assure the Dominican public that as a party, we will not stand idly by and see this particular piece of legislation go unopposed. We'll continue to do what is necessary. We'll continue to do what we think is important to ensure that this is done. So whilst we will not disclose at this point what we plan to do in the future, but just be assured, we will not rest, we will not relent until and unless this legislation is corrected. This is a struggle, Dominica, that must be waged. And this is a battle that must be won. As part of our efforts to bring to the attention of the public what we are proposing and what is in the legislation, we'll be having a series of town hall meetings across Dominica beginning next Tuesday. So for those of you in the Roseau area, you're invited at 6 o'clock at the PSU building on Valley Road, where we will begin those discussions with you on electoral reform. Beyond that, we'll move the next few weeks to Marigot, to Cassibruce, and to St. Joseph, with others to follow. But just to let you know that we are taking this very seriously, and we expect that you will come out with your questions, with your concerns, but more importantly, with your support.
Leader of the United Workers' Party, Dr. Thompson Fontaine. Deputy Party Leader, Senator Delbert Paris, says there are issues with the 3 electoral reform bills which need to be reviewed.
There are certain criteria of eligibility that gets you on and off a voter's list. Why is that important? Because we want to make sure that the people who are participating in selecting representatives understand why, and it affects them too. So it's not about disenfranchising anyone, but it is ensuring that those who are exercising the franchise have skin in the game. They live here. The laws that will be passed here in the Parliament affect them directly. That is why a clean voters list is important. The issue of ID cards and using biometrics. We understand the importance of biometrics, but why do we need biometrics in a voting system, as we see around the world? Again, to ensure that the people participating in the process are who they say they are. And we're not skewing the process unfairly by voting twice and conducting other fraudulent activity during the voting process, because it will affect the way we live our lives the following day. Campaign finance reform. Why is it important to the ordinary Dominican? It is important because if our elections are available to big money interests, it disenfranchises an entire population. Because likely the people who will be selected will have big money interests at the forefront of their priority list, as opposed to the needs of the people. We could go on. There are a number of points of the legislation that are of contention, but these 3 areas I wanted to touch on them.
And that was Senator Delbert Paris. Still in the national focus, Dominican employees will pay an increase in contributions to the Dominica Social Security effective January month-end. Deputy Director of the Dominica Social Security, Augustus Etienne, says this measure have been put in place to sustain the scheme. He was a guest on DBS Radio's A Talking Points program this morning.
We needed to realize a 5% increase in our contribution. And when we deliberated as management back in 2006-07 thereabout, we were concerned about minimizing the impact of the increase in contributions on our contributors. So we settled on allowing the contribution to increase gradually by 0.25% per year. Well, we're not seeing the impact that we would like to see as quickly as we need to see it, but we were thinking of the impact on contributors. And since 2012, that 0.25% has been applied every year. And from 2019, it has been alternating between the employer and the employee. I'm saying every year we remind people that based on that regulation that was already approved since 2012, this is the new rate that they have to pay come January. And every time we put out the notice, we get calls and people are making comments in the media and stuff like that. It is not something that is new, but it is also something that is necessary to ensure the sustainability of the system. Now, people might say we not fear this, that, and the other, but the responsible thing to do is to ensure that you do what is necessary to ensure that the system remains sustainable.
And that was the Deputy Director of the Dominica Social Security, Augustus Etienne. The Cultural Division is set to elevate the steel pan art form by blending it with the traditional bouillon style and combining contemporary and classic sounds. Pan in the City, which is amongst activities for Master Dominica 2025, will be held tomorrow. Acting Chief Cultural Officer Urson Matthew says the activity will pay tribute to steel pan legends who helped shape the art form.
So the format for Pan in the City 2025 will be a steel pan group on that same trailer on the bayfront Friday at 6 p.m. That's tomorrow. And that'll be a nice after-work line. But here's where it gets even more interesting. We've never shied away from mixing the contemporary elements with our traditional culture. So, Pan in Harmony, one of our most popular steel pan groups, will be backing up some of our popular bouillon artists. So imagine Shelly, Kwan, Little Boy performing their hits backed by steel pan music. And that's a real moment. Real REEL moment. We also have DJ Shyster, and of course, what is the point of having a truck on the road and it doesn't move? So here's the plot twist. We'll proceed north on the Bayfront and onto Kennedy Avenue, and we will end at the former residence of Pan legend Wilfred Paltrow John Baptist, and that is near Bulletin and Company. For those in tune with what's happening on the ground, near the big step, not the Piper step, but the big step. And this year's event is in tribute to steel pan legends Eddie Andre, Alan John Baptist, and Pancho, who I just mentioned.
And that was Acting Chief Cultural Officer Erson Matthew. And still in the national focus here, the Faith, Hope and Love Fellowship Foundation has donated essential supplies which valued at about $80,000 to the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services. The donation, which includes walkers, wheelchairs, kitchen and cleaning supplies, amongst others, will directly benefit clients at the Dominica Infirmary, Chances Community Hostel Inc. and several schools across the island. Minister of State with special responsibility for seniors security, children at risk, gender affairs and the differently abled, Dr. Cassandra Williams, welcomed the donation.
I'm indeed overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude and hope. Gratitude for this profound and generous donation, and hope that there are still good people out there who give without wanting anything in return. On behalf of our ministry and all the vulnerable groups we are privileged to serve, I extend our deepest thanks to Faith, Hope and Love Fellowship Foundation for your act of generosity. You have all come together to offer your support to us as a ministry. It is not just about the act of buying supplies and sending. It is about the kindness and love in your hearts. It is not about the quantity, which I must say is extensive. I will soon have a 40-foot container of goods. But it is about gratitude. Gratitude turns what we have into enough, and we are indeed grateful. Your contribution is not just a gift, it is a beacon of hope. It sends a powerful message to those in need that they are seen, valued, and supported.
And that was a Minister of State with special responsibility for seniors security, children at risk, gender affairs and the differently abled, Dr. Cassandra Williams. Former president of the Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches, Pastor Randy Rodney, has called on government to review legislation which prevents ministers of religion from contesting general elections. Pastor Rodney made the call at PSU last night during a discussion on electoral reform hosted by the Dominica Business Forum.
And we still are asking that the government of Dominica through the parliament relook at the fact that according to the Constitution, a minister of religion is not able to contest elections. And it's a constitutional matter, and I think it should be looked at. Dominica is the only country in CARICOM where that law still exists. We noted in Barbados, the last election cycle, that a gentleman who was preached on many of our pulpits in Dominica, who contested elections for the Labour Party then, resigned and became the leader of the opposition. He is the bishop of the Christian Union churches in Barbados. And that's just one of the examples. And I know people all over the Caribbean who are ministers of religion. And so we propose that. So probably something to think about. Certainly, like I said, not at this stage, because it would require a constitutional amendment for us to do that.
And that was a former president of the Dominica Association of Evangelical Churches, Pastor Randy Rodney. And on this evening's featured segment, we place the spotlight on a well-known teacher who taught and led the St. Luke Primary and later down the St. Martin Primary School. Carol Activille, who gave over 30 years of service to the teaching profession, says teaching was a dream job. Carol Activille is our feature on the DBS Evening News.
I've been a teacher for 36 years. I was at St. Luke School, 10 years as a principal, and before that, probably 11 years went to teachers college and taught. And then I went to study, and when I came back, I became principal of St. Martin Primary School till 2007. I had an accident and I just couldn't function anymore as a teacher. And I must say, from a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. I always admired my teachers and wanted to be just like them. And I became a teacher, and I was happy. All my years as a teacher were very, very great years. Teaching has ups and downs. I can't talk much about downs, tell you the truth, because you have to just make it. That's what it is. And anybody who would like to become a teacher, I will tell them, if they love children and they love to pass on knowledge, it's the best profession. But if you don't like that and you want to go in it for the money, don't go in it, because it's got its challenges, and maybe because you don't like it, you may not do the best, and at the same time, the children are the ones to suffer. But it's a noble profession. As people tell you, it's a vocation and not a profession, because you're mother, father, lawyer, friend, confidant, my dear darling. But for me, I just love the children around me, because right now, I'm not teaching for how many years now, but I am involved in the church with some little children, and for me, it's a noble profession. I love the idea. At the same time, you give them all the important things in life, which is God first, and always respect your fellow men. And for me, that is the most important thing. The reading and writing is important, but for me, we are just here passing through. We have to go up to where it's the best place, and where we are heading to is with God, but we have to pass the test. And so we are here enjoying ourselves, but at the same time doing it well. And as grown-ups, we pass it on to the children, because the others before us passed it on to us. So I would tell anybody, teaching is beautiful, teaching is nice, but you must want to do it. And when you do it well.
And that was Carol Activille, our feature on this evening's news, taking us to the end of this evening's National Focus and featured segment. Up next is news from the region and international.
Yo, what's up? Baby, let's go! Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digicel TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951.
DBS News.
And welcome back. Now news from the region. Police in Jamaica killed a top gang leader whose death unleashed a violent backlash near the capital of Kingston today, which prompted authorities to raise the threat level to police officers to extreme. The shooting occurred after the government ordered a crackdown on gangs following recent mass shootings on the island nation, where gang violence has erupted in recent months. A curfew was imposed with immediate effect, restricting people from leaving their homes until late Friday. Much of the violence in Jamaica and elsewhere in the Caribbean is blamed on guns illegally smuggled in from the United States. And internationally, a U.S. judge has temporarily blocked U.S. President Donald Trump's order to change birthright citizenship, which is enshrined in the Constitution. The judge says the order, which was slated to take effect in February, was blatantly unconstitutional. Meanwhile, Trump has declassified files related to deaths of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. The president also pardoned 23 anti-abortion activists and signed executive orders relating to cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, and the recognition of the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina. Well, this brings us to the end of this evening's news. Up next is sports.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
And welcome to your DBS Evening Sports Package for today, Thursday, January 23rd. First off, we kick off with some football action as the Dominica Football Association has convened a talent identification festival for players between the ages of 10 to 14. The first cohort of players taking part in this festival are from Massac down to the south of the island. Technical Director of the Dominica Football Association, Jerome Badwell, says this is aimed at creating more engagement for young footballers.
We have convened a festival for players of the ages 10 to 14 in a particular locality from the Massac down to the south. We are presently in the process of finding talent. We call it talent identification. Remember, our Regional Training Center program is a program designed to prepare the best of our talent, because the first instance that we as an FA will be entering competition on the regional stages on the 14 level. Our plan is really to prepare these players, a 2-year program. We'll prepare these players to develop their technical skills so that we have competent persons going into the competition. So this year basically is an opportunity to identify the boys and the girls in that region, and we are hoping that we will be able to identify the best among them, because we want to be able to select them and place them in an elite program where we can continue the training for them with qualified coaches and with a program that is designed, to improve their technical and tactical competence.
Bardwell says the festival will continue over a 4-week period throughout other regions in Dominica.
We believe that it is important that attention is placed on the foundation. The young players, around us, and we're referring to players from the ages of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We would really like to have them engaged more. And so the plan is really to create opportunities for them to play more. We are designing the program in such a way that these persons will have many more opportunities to play, to enjoy the game, but to develop themselves. An important part of our program is really developing the grassroots and academy program on the island, because we believe that is the foundation. If our players have a very good start, this will be good for us in our continued development of the players. We are also looking I'm happy that we have with us today our FIFA talent coach, who was brought on island especially for those things. And so he is really part of the process here already, and we, together with the technical department, we have designed programs. So we will be heading to Castleberry, Portsmouth, and we're not leaving Marigot and the surrounding communities out. And the process will take, I think, 4 weeks for us to be able to cover the entire island. But the department also is really working towards getting those structures here actively engaged in playing. The young person must play more. In the absence of a solid foundation, our football is not going to get anywhere.
And that was the technical director of the Dominica Football Association, Jerome Bardwell. Still in some news this evening for sports here, the West Indies women's captain Hayley Matthews has hailed the last year as an amazing one for her. The West Indies women are currently engaged in a 3-match one-day international ODI series against Bangladesh women. The series is leveled at 1-1 with the third and final ODI set for Friday. In an interview with Cricket West Indies, Matthew reflected on her journey over the last year and her mindset going into the different series.
The last 12 months have been, I guess, pretty amazing when it comes to my success at the crease. For me personally, I think I've obviously been able to do really well, and I guess have a lot more consistency too. And I think, it's just a matter of me really trying to spend time at the crease, but also when I get in, I know that it is my day at the crease and I'm having a few out in the middle of the bat. Just try to cherish that and make it a really big innings rather than falling a bit shorter. The vein of form kind of started over in Pakistan. We had a 3-match ODI series against them, and I was able to score 200s and get my highest ODI score as well. I think it's 141 or something like that. And that kind of kicked it off, having a really good series there. And then we went over to India at the end of last year, and it was an up and down series for me. I had 3 matches, 0, 106, 0. So really up and down there, but still able to get the century. When I did get that century in India, I did have to fight it out a lot really early on in my innings. I think I was 5 off about 20 balls early on, and I kind of had to just grit it out a bit until things started flowing a lot more. I think for myself, I kind of set goals before every single tour, and a lot of the time that is to get 100 or 2 and just to stay really consistent with getting runs as well. But for sure, I think looking at the year and how much ODI cricket we have especially, it is a really big opportunity for me to get some runs under my belt and hopefully get a lot of centuries as well. So I would love to be able to get at least 1 century in every series we do play for the year.
And that was West Indies women's captain Hayley Matthews. Kicking into some more football news here, the Castle Bruce community will be celebrating for the foreseeable future as their boys ran over the St. Mary's Academy to lift the 2024-2025 Sports Division Secondary Schools Under-15 football title yesterday at the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. The Castle Bruce Secondary School made light work out of the SMA squad in the end to take the match 5-1. Shirko and Gustav got 2 goals, while a goal each came from Asa Banis, Dylan John and Taran George for the CBSS, while Skyhill McIntyre got the lone goal for the SMA squad. Delroy Watt is the coach of the CBSS team.
Hard-fought match today. Players play extremely well, started off the game very well, creating a number of chances. Although not converting all the opportunities they created in the first half, we still were able to end the first half 3 goals to 1. All right, in the second half they came on again, keep the pressure on. I must add that SMA gave a good fight. The score doesn't always reflect the hard work that is put in the match, and I must comment SMA for a hard-fought match, put in a good performance as well. But the Castle Bruce Secondary was the better team of the day. All right.
How did you guys overcome that early storm from SMA? You know, they got off to a good start. How did you guys weather that?
All right. I feel it's just a matter of nerves. As you know, the under 15 category players are not really mature in life, and not in football, not in life, not in anything. So it was just a matter of calming their nerves. We know the players have the talent, but I still feel because it's a big stage, final stage, big field, a lot of supporters there here in Portsmouth today, not a familiar ground. I feel they were a bit anxious.
A word on Taran George and what he brought to the game. I mean, really dominated that midfield.
All right, Taran George is a very exceptional player. Everybody in football would know that name. All right, Taran displayed his skill, his seniority, experience, and totally dominated the finals today.
And that was the coach of the CBSS team, Delroy Watt. Taran George of the Castle Bruce Secondary School was named the player of the match.
Well, it was good. We played to our best, and listen to our coach and do what we have to do.
What areas do you think you dominated the game this afternoon?
Well, first I was in strike. I see it didn't working out, so I went in the midfield and started playing good.
What does that mean to you, being named the player of the match?
Well, I do what I have to do, and
How big is this championship for you guys? Winning the tournament and you playing a big role. How big is this championship for you guys?
It's good, it's very good, because we never won this. We tried 2 years, we never won it, and finally we win it.
All right, what's going to be next for you? Under 15 division, obviously going to be moving up?
Yeah, under 17 I will be coming. Yeah.
So what would you want to say to the competition in the under 17?
Well, I would just tell them I will be coming and wait for me.
And that was Taran George, player of the match. Meantime, SMA's coach, Dustin Maggie Peters, says his players were intimidated by the Castle Bruce team.
Physically, my players and them, the boys and them, they have what it takes. But mentally, is what I've been telling them for the entire season. Mentally, they need to work on the mindset and they need to believe in themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They're more thinking about who the other team have. They mentioning the guys on the other team. They're thinking about themselves. So it's about them. So that's the problem. Mentally, that's where we're lacking. But physically, we're all right, So.
SMA had a number of chances, when the scores were level. How much do you think this really came back to haunt you guys, not taking those chances when you had them?
Yeah, definitely when you miss chances, you always come back to haunt you, check it. And so that had a lot to do with it. You have to put away your chances, because that's when you put away your chances, it mentally breaks down your opponent. And when you don't do it, then your opponent feels they have an opportunity, they have a chance. And then when they get the opportunity and they put it away, then it's now psychologically out of the game. So by the time the first goal score, it break down, broke down by boys and them, which mentally again is mental, to know that you're down but you're not out and you have to keep fighting. The game before that, DGS, we fought till the end. This one, we didn't fight till the end. We didn't fight enough.
And that was SMA's coach, Dustin Maggie Peters. And finally, we bowl out with some cricket news as the West Indies women under-19 team are through to the Super 6 stage following a crushing win over host country Malaysia as that tournament continued this morning. Windies batted first and made 112 for 7 in their 20 overs. Malaysia, in reply, looked threatening at one point at 30-1, but collapsed to be all out for 59. Dominica's Amia Gilbert did not play the match. The West Indies won by 53 runs. The West Indies will meet Australia when the Super 6 stages get underway on Saturday. Well, this brings us to the end of this evening's News and Sports. A special thanks to the DBS News and Sports team and Link personnel, DJ Halo Boy.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
And now, your community bulletin board.
Good evening and welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 23rd day of January 2025. We now head straight into the evening edition of the DBS Radio What's On segment on the Community Bulletin Board.
Calypso, Dominica's biggest tent, the Stardom tent is back. Yes, Stardom is back for another big season. The grand opening Saturday, January 25 from 9 p.m. at My Mother's Place, formerly the Evergreen Hotel. The big guns, Daddy Chess, Tasha P, JD, Mystery, Observer, Scrunter, Luscious, Shadow Flow, Shanice, Mighty D, and more. Entrance only $30. People, you ask for it, you get Kaiso. It's Stardom! Back again. The grand opening Saturday, January 25. My Mother's Place, formerly the Evergreen Hotel.
Do you remember when Pan was king? Well, the Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development and the Cultural Division presents Pan in the City Street Jump Up in memory of the late Wilfred Poncho John Baptist, Edward Andre, and Alan John Baptist on Friday, January 24th, 2024 at 6 p.m. on the Bayfront. There'll be guest performances by Pan in Harmony, Pussy Culture, and guess what? Quan, Little Boy, Shally will be there, backed up by Stilpan. It's Pan in the City Street Jump Up. Let's relive the memories of the good old Pan music. The Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development and the Cultural Division presents Old Mas Juve. Yes, Old Mas Juve. So Vinny, come indulge yourself in the sound of Lapo Cabwet. See the big bottom ladies roll and shibule with the sensei. There'll also be stilt walkers, stillpan music and more. So join us, Vinny Messier, on February 8th at 4 a.m. in Bath Estate for Old Mas Juve and get hit by a wave of nostalgia for the Old Mas we once loved.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. The next edition will be tomorrow morning from 6:10 a.m. with the morning edition of the DBS Radio Death Announcements, and at approximately 7:40 a.m. with the morning edition of your general announcements and what's on. Don't forget to hear your announcements on DBS Radio, the nation station where everyone listens. Come in to the Sales and Marketing Team's office Mondays through Fridays between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Also, you can give us a call at 448-3282 or 448-3283. Same times and days mentioned, except holidays.
Trendsetter 2025. Let me know.
And when that truck get to the city, everybody want to be paid. Who waiting stone, not them alone. Some be in trend, making it rain. It's at the PP tree, leading to the sea. Look the PP bombarded the city. So you hear me? The PP, I'm a Wesa. The PP, Elas Papa. The PP, I'm a Pisa. The PP, Tiwe Sala. The PP, Atalota. The PP, E Akweza. The PP, Alawiya. The PP, Tiwe Sala. Why yo yo? The PP, why ya ya? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, Satipeya. Why yo yo? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, why ya ya? The PP, Kwasepeya. What me la do? Let it sound. Let it go. The people migrate from the country and elsewhere right here in the city. So my brother, things not easy. The van could kill anybody. It makes I high. I don't know why. The PP sense, just not the sense. As Peter Brass, he would know of course. Is he that said the PP? Not the Brass. The PP, I'm a Kwesa. The PP, Elas Papa. The PP, I'm a Pisa. The PP, Tiwe Sala. The PP, Atalota. The PP, E Akweza. The PP, Alawiya. The PP, Tiwe Sala. Why yo yo? The PP, why ya ya? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, Satipeya. Why yo yo? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, why ya ya? The PP, Kwasepeya. What will I do? Powell, Shone, Jodi Jou en pile moun yo ni privi. Mais epi yo da still pipi. On the side of the road, watch them wee. In the drain, on the wall, in the lawi. Pisa la show, la ou pa bwe glow. Do what you want, PP must flow. One thing I know, and you know it sure. The PP doesn't have a fossil. The PP, I'm a Kwesa. The PP, Elas Papa. The PP, I'm a Pisa. The PP, Tiwe Sala. The PP, Atalota. The PP, E Akweza. The PP, Alawiya. The PP, Tiwe Sala. Why yo yo? The PP, why ya ya? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, Satipeya. Why yo yo? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, why ya ya? The PP, Kwasepeya. Let's just sound. Trendsetter. Yes sir. The PP, all by the God. The PP, and on the pot. The PP, by registry. The PP, even Wesley. The PP, and fam fashe. The PP, your nom hele. The PP, tap we souple. The PP, massa pisse. Why yo yo? The PP, why ya ya? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, Satipeya. Why yo yo? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, why ya ya? The PP, Kwasepeya. The PP, Amal Beta. The PP, Omo Beta. The PP, Wamuna Zafa. The PP, Tout Mona Dasa. The PP, even lawyer. The prosecutioner. The PP, all them avocat. The PP, Tout Mona Dasa. Why yo yo? The PP, why ya ya? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, Satipeya. Why yo yo? The PP, ay ya ya. The PP, why ya ya? The PP, Kwasepeya. The director of public visa. Watch it. Casco Studio. Anyway.
Today is your lucky day. Pour me a drink.
sexy. Can't leave no baby. I'm feeling fiery. Something taking me. I see ladies with big legs and feet on so high. Whenever I see them, I feel so alive. So darling, if you want to go home, you're going home on your own. Today is my birthday. Pempelele, pempelele. Hakuna Matata. Cause I have an appetite. Too fat, I have an appetite. I ain't going home, not yet. I'm the queen of fat. I have an appetite. Too fat, I have an appetite. Don't kill me appetite, not yet. Look, I'm soaking wet. You're part of my recipe. My taste buds are yearning for your wine. Serve me from behind. I just love it when you say, ay, 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 ay. A little louder, say, ay, 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 ay. Barman, pour me a wine, a sweet wine, a red wine. Fassa, fassa. Hey, 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 hey. Don't tell me, man, don't even mention home. Cause me appetite yearns and me body is willing. All kind of characters jumping and singing. Man, everybody's somebody. Nobody's nobody. Let's give thanks and be happy. Happy, happy. One life in the flesh, so let's leave it clean. Whatever the plan, Jah will bless it with his hand. So my boo, if you cannot come, and next man go do your work. I ain't going home no way. So pempelele, pempelele. Parfait moins côtoyé. Cause I have an appetite. Too fat, I have an appetite. I ain't going home, not yet. I'm the queen of fat. I have an appetite. Too fat, I have an appetite. Don't kill me appetite, not yet. Look, I'm soaking wet. You're part of my recipe. My taste buds are yearning for your wine. Serve me from behind. I just love it when you say, ay, 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 ay. A little louder, say, ay, 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 ay. Hey, barman, pour me a wine, a sweet wine, a red wine. Fassa, fassa. Hey, 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 hey. Big power cut, blackout, no electricity. And it's no you mention home to climax me appetite. You tell me you tired, weary or you sleepy. If so, I'm going for Connie to collect me Stephanie. Brace yourself, honey. In case of emergency, don't hesitate to call. If I'm pumping this Stephanie, soon I will come. So darling, if you want to practice, the alphabet's on my list. Soon I go make you ball. Pempelele, pempelele. Somebody call 911 for me, not he. Cause I have an appetite. Too fat, I have an appetite. I ain't going home, not yet. I'm the queen of fat. I have an appetite. Too fat, I have an appetite. Don't kill me appetite, not yet. Look, I'm soaking wet. You're part of my